Right, quick one to discuss self-righteousness, and yeah, I'll get the intro out of the way. Cigarette and a beer. Beautiful. So Christians use this all the time, and it's really disgusting how and why they use it. But Matthew 7:1-2, judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. The rest of the chapter, the next few verses actually go on to discuss removing the Christmas tree out of your eye, the sin that leads to death, which you Christians love, 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 and cannot get rid of. But what this is saying is, as soon as don't be a hypocrite, basically. Why? You're so hypocritical. Because then John 7:24, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. So the Messiah is not contradicting himself. He says, judge not as a hypocrite, and then judge righteous judgment. What is the righteousness of God? The righteousness of God is Deuteronomy 6:24-25, which is keeping the Ten Commandments. If you keep the Ten Commandments, it becomes your righteousness. And judging is one of the elevated commandments, loving your neighbour as yourself. So I'm going to read James 2:1-8. James 2:8-13. But verse 1 is very important, as it is. Have not the faith of Yeshua with respect of persons. You can't have blind faith with respect of persons. The respect of persons always comes back to judgment. So, if you fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself, you do well. Pardon me, judge me for burping. Should have gone out. But if ye have respect to persons, ye commit sin, and are convinced of the law as transgressors. For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one part, he is guilty of all. For he, the Messiah that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill. Oh no, sorry, that's the Father. Now if thou commit no adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law. And what is transgression of the law? Sin is transgression of the law. It's telling you that the law is the Ten Commandments, not the law that Paul speaks about in Galatians 3, as in the sacrificial law that was added because of transgression. Verse 12, so speak ye and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. If you're not judged by the law of liberty, you're judged by the law of sin and death. If you are in the Torah movement and you go to the right, and as Judah does as well, as the Jews do, and you heap onto people burdens, i.e. the sacrificial law, you're going to be judged by the law of sin and death. That's a guarantee, it's in prophecy. If you're Christian and you forsake everything in the Bible, you go to the letter of the New Testament, which, to be honest, doesn't really make sense, because the New Testament tells you to keep the Ten Commandments, you're going to be judged by the law of sin and death. The law of liberty is the Ten Commandments, eating clean and teaching others to do so. It's very simple. His burden is easy and his yoke is light. If I said that right. For he shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. What is mercy? Mercy is the royal law, teaching people to keep the Ten Commandments. Now back to what is said in James verse 8, the scripture, Leviticus 19:15-18. He's quoting it. He's quoting it. You can deny it as much as you like. You can say, judge not lest ye be judged. But you really shouldn't. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honour the person of the mighty, but in righteousness. Deuteronomy 6, 24, 25. Shalt thou judge thy neighbour. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbour. I am Jehovah. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. See, even when Yeshua expounded upon the elevated commandments, even when Yeshua expounded upon the 10 commandments, when he said, if you commit adultery, but even if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, you commit adultery. Here, Leviticus 19, 15 through 18, which is the law, which is in the Torah, the first 5 books, it already says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Yeshua says the exact same thing. That makes you a murderer, and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. I am Jehovah. That is the definition. Basic hermeneutics. You can argue against it as much as you like. Honestly. Deuteronomy 32, verse 4. He is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment. All of the Father's ways are judgment. All of the Son's ways are judgment. A God of truth and without iniquity. And what is iniquity? It's lawlessness. Just and right is he. Isaiah 61 verse 8. And Isaiah 61, you should read Luke 4. The Messiah calls it the gospel. And it's preaching the glad tidings of good things that Paul quotes in Romans 10 when he's quoting Isaiah 52 verbatim, but changing a few words because the Bible is a parable, intentionally so, to divide the wheat and the tares. For I, Jehovah, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering, stealing the inheritance, teaching people to do the feasts, or going back to sacrificial law. And I will direct their work in truth. What is the truth? His law is the truth. Psalm 119. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Who is them? It's Jacob, my servant. Amos 5, 12 through 15. For I know your, and this is the same chapter that absolutely destroys the pre-trib rapture of the church. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They afflict the just, they take a bribe, they turn aside the poor in the gate from their right, they steal their inheritance. Therefore the prudent shall keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good. What does the Messiah call good? Why do you call me good? There is none good except the Father which is in heaven. If you choose to enter into life, keep the commandments. And not evil, that ye may live, exactly, if you choose to live. And so Jehovah, the God of hosts, shall be with you, as ye have spoken. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that Jehovah, God of hosts, will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph. And now Ezekiel 44, 23 through 24. And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane. That they is Jacob the servant. And cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. You should really read this alongside Jubilee 6 about doing the feasts unworthily. And in controversy, earthquakes in diverse places, check the Strong's Concordance for that. They shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. Oh dear. And now to 2 Timothy 4, 1 through 5, and then I'm going to end it and go to bed. I charge thee therefore before God and the Lord Yeshua Messiah, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. In other words, judge. Leviticus 19:15 through 18. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from hearing the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. But watch thou in all things. Watching is entering the Ezekiel 2:3 and 33 watchman calling, becoming Jacob. Endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. So you break every Sabbath, you eat pork, you say the Ten Commandments are the law of sin and death, and yet you judge me and my brothers for having a beer and a cigarette. Tell me in scripture where it says not to have a beer and a cigarette.